Hello, everyone. This is Beastly Eel here, and in today's episode, we're going to be talking about the latest episode of the Book of Boba Fett. This is episode 6, and I do have to say this episode was even better than the last one. Um, so I'll paint a little picture. We have um, the Mandalorian going to visit um, the child, Gorgo. Um, and so what he does is he goes there, he gets sent to a specific location. We get to see R2D2, which is nice. He leads him to a specific temple that's being built. So we have a feeling that this is going to be some sort of structure that's going to be used for Jedi training, but we don't know that officially yet. So anyway, he then is waiting, and R2D2 shuts down, which is hilarious because he does this a lot in the series, overall in the entire franchise, basically when he doesn't want to be bothered by anybody anymore. So, that being said, these robots make him a bench which he sits on and waits. Now, we don't know how long he's waited for, but I would imagine it's a decent amount of time. So, what we see is we see Luke Skywalker trying to train Gorgo, and it's not going well. It seems that he is not really understanding the Force too much, and because of that, he is trying too hard, which, as we all know from the Jedi purpose, that if you try too hard, it's not going to work. So that being said, we see this continuing of an attempt to try and be free and use his abilities. So it does not work. Um, we see him use the idea of trying to jump, doesn't work. But what we do see is him using it to get food, and he uses it pretty well. And then Luke shows him how he can do it, and he basically takes all the frogs out of the pond and shows him how powerful he truly is. So that being said, we see all that. We see him just lacking in general, and when you see him jumping around, um, it just doesn't work. So they use this training device, which is a ball that spins around and shoots um, non-deadly lasers at Jedi's. So Gorgo thinks it's a soccer ball and tries to kick it. Anyway, he turns it on and he gets blasted right away and knocked back. So he's got to figure out a different way of doing this. So while the Mandalorian was waiting, Ahsoka Tano shows up and she's talking to him, trying to understand why he's here. And he's explaining that he's there to see the child and how he misses him, and he'd like to see how he's doing. And Ahsoka's kind of like, walk with me. And so the two of them are talking, and she's trying to get a better understanding of why he wants to do this. Are you coming to see him because you want to, or is it because um, you feel he needs it? And so he doesn't know quite how to answer that. So while this is going on, she basically states that if he sees him, it's going to mess up Gorgo's training. And she's not going to stop him because that's his choice. But she's giving him that option, and she shows him exactly where he is. And she sees him and Luke, Gorgo and Luke training. So the Mandalorian goes, okay, and he hands her his gift to him and leaves. So he takes off and flies away. So we find out that we now see, sorry, later on we see Gorgo in the river or lake, I guess you'd say, and bounce around and avoid blasts. So he's getting a better idea of the force a little bit, most because he's in danger. So we see him hopping around without any issue whatsoever. So while this is going on, Ahsoka Tano comes out, and her and Luke are talking. And she explains that, the Mandalorian was here and he had a gift for him. And Luke goes, okay. And he's explaining how teaching is not easy. And she goes, no. She goes, sometimes the student teaches the master, sometimes. But that's something you have to learn as you go. So that being said, um, they kind of finish his training. So at the end of this part of the story, we see Gorgo and Luke sitting together, and he gives him a choice on whether to choose the Mandalorian's armor or the lightsaber that Yoda had. And he can only choose one. And if he chooses the armor, he goes with the Mandalorian and lives his life there. But if he takes the lightsaber, he will be training here with Luke and being his first student. And that's how it ends. We don't know what he picks. So back to the main story. We see the Pikes in that town that we saw in season 2 of The Mandalorian, where we see the Marshal wearing Boba Fett's armor. So the Marshal no longer has his armor, goes up to the group of Pikes who are attempting to do some sort of deal, and he explains that you all leave now, and we'll just play this off as some sort of misdirection. You guys happen to be at the wrong place, and I pointed you in the right direction, or, something might else happen. So one of the Pikes goes to grab a blaster, he shoots 3 of them, leaves one left alive, and explains that he's going to want him to keep the spice here. And the Pike explains that, well, this is worth more than your town. He goes, well, then I guess I'm going to retire. And he takes off. He dumps out the spice and lets it go. And that is that for now. So the Mandalorian gets to Boba Fett's base of operations after visiting Gorgo, or lack thereof, or attempting, I should say, to visit Gorgo. They explain, the assassin explains exactly what the issue is and why it's such a big problem that the Pikes are here, and that they're going to need much reinforcements as possible. So the Mandalorian says he has somebody he can talk to and see what he can get out of. So he goes to talk to the Marshal and tries to get him to join him, and he is not convinced. He basically states that, this is our free town now, and we can't do this. We can't get involved in some guy named Boba Fett just where it could destroy them. So anyway, Mandalorian's not all that thrilled, but he leaves. And the Marshal, after he leaves, says, we need to have a town meeting with everyone, because everyone's going to have to make a decision on this. So at the end of the episode, we see a figure coming down into the town. The Marshal tells everyone to go away. Well, the Deputy Marshal comes out too, which causes a whole nother problem. So anyway, we hear this voice, and it sounds very familiar, and it sounds like Cad Bane. I believe that's how you pronounce it. Cad Bane, correct? Cad Bane. Yes, Cad Bane. Sorry about that. I always am not confident in pronouncing somebody's name. So, for those of you who have seen Clone Wars, know that he is one of the badass bounty hunters, and in fact, number 2, only to Jango Fett. For those of you who don't know. So anyway, he's a blue guy, got little pipes here, red eyes, and he wears this signature hat. But anyway, he threatens, he talks to the Marshal and basically states that, we don't want any problems. We'll gladly offer you double what Boba Fett is offering you. And the Marshal's like, no, we're not going to join you. We just want you guys kept out of here. And they're having this conversation, a little bit of standoff. The Deputy Marshal pulls his weapon out first. That's when Cad Bane shoots the Marshal right in the shoulder and then blasts to Kingdom Come the Deputy Marshal and then leaves and yells while he's walking away, stating that as long as the Pikes won't bother you, as long as you allow the Syndicate, will not bother you as long as you keep letting spice run through here. And he walks away. So the town goes to help the Marshal. Very few people go to the Deputy Marshal, mostly due to the fact that I'm pretty sure he's dead. So, boom, there's one episode left. So this episode has to, and I mean has to, be the final confrontation between the Syndicate and Boba Fett. In some sort of capacity, I'm hoping. So there's going to be an all-out war for this one episode. We're going to see Cad Bane, I'm hoping. So there's going to be a lot of fight scenes with a lot of great people. I'm hoping this episode is really long, because if not, and it kind of leads on a cliffhanger, I will be a little disappointed since we really had such a slow start to this series. And I'm also curious as what Gorgo has chosen. which could lead to Ahsoka Tano bringing him to Boba Fett's place, which could also have her join the fight, which would be very cool. That being said, we definitely don't know much what's going to happen overall. Um, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Do you agree with me? Do you guys think this is great? Do you think it sucks? Please let me know. As always, if you like the content you see, please like and subscribe below. Other than that, this is going to be Beastly Eel signing out. Have a good night.